If I win this game, I probably make it to 2,000. But after this game, I have to play one more game after this. This is round 2 of the Shippensburg Summer Open, and I'm playing Bob Graham. I've played him 3 times before, and I have 2 wins and 1 loss against Bob, and he was the first Class A player that I've ever played. So when I first played him back in 2023, he was over 1,800, but since then he's dropped down a lot. He's getting closer to his floor of 1,600, but Bob is an OG. We live in the same town. We go to the same Castle Chess Club, and so I'm very familiar with Bob, and he's a really nice guy. But now I have to take him down. That's my prerogative. So I play e4, he plays c5, and this is a no-engine recap until the very end of this video. So hopefully we'll learn something along this process. That being said, the first 13 moves of this game I have seen before. So I've had the exact same game previously, and actually I had the exact same game in the Czech Republic when I played there. So very similar game, and the time control is game in 40 plus 5 seconds per move. So kind of on the shorter side, but not that short. So I play this really a sideline. I play d4. So this is called a Magnus Sicilian if you look on chess.com. And so it's very unconventional because you bring your queen out into the center, and it can now be a target of attack. So Bob plays knight of 6, so he just develops his other pieces first. I guess he doesn't want to play knight c6 because of bishop b5. That's totally fine to play knight c6 now. You shouldn't worry about this pin, but it's tomato, it's all the same. So he develops and fianchettos. I fianchetto on the queen side, and now we both castle, and then I play f3. So I'm going to play f3 and use this f3 pawn as a springboard for my g4, h4, h5 pawn pushes to hopefully win the game. He plays knight c6, I play queen d2, and immediately, as black, your alarm bells should be going off. If you are not successful with your pawn play, you just simply lose the game because of all the g4 and h4 pawn pushes. You lose the game very, very quickly if you do not get your attack going. And I find the move that Bob played, a6, the easiest way to play. The easiest way to play. Another note about this tournament is that I am the tournament director, and the reason why this is round 2 and this is the first round I'm playing in this event is because I only play when there's an odd number of people. If there's an even number of people, I don't play in my own tournaments. But if there's an odd number of people pay to play 4 rounds. So if I don't play, that means someone's getting a bye and someone's not getting 4 rounds, not by choice, but by happenstance. And so it's very unfair if they don't get 4 games in. So I play whenever there's an odd number of people. And so round 1 someone took a bye, round 4 someone took a bye. So and in rounds 2 and 3 that was the only time where there was an odd number of people. So I played in rounds 2 and 3. So after a6, I play g4, and once again, just simply launching my kingside attacks, my kingside pawns. And he played b5, I play h4. We're both pushing our pawns, and here he plays h5 because if he doesn't, if he plays, I don't know, let's say b4 for example. Well, now I'm going to play knight d5, and let's say you just take here, and well, in this specific situation, I can take. And after h5, he can play rook h8 to try to meet me on the h file. If he doesn't and plays a move like h5, then I'm going to take and check here and mate. I have to be very, very careful here. Or if you go this way, this also cannot be very good. This also cannot be very good. Maybe g5 here is probably good enough, where king f5 is the only legal move, and then there's bishop h3 check, king f3, queen h4 check, king e3, queen here, king f2, and there's got to be a checkmate somewhere, probably just queen e1 checkmate. Anyway, so it's very dangerous. That's the point. So after h5, so after h4, he plays h5 himself to stop me from playing h5. So now, hoping to keep the h file closed and keep his king a bit more safe. But now I play knight d5, and I've had the exact same game up to this point. In the Czech Republic, I had an opponent. I reached this exact same position. This is move 12. I reached this exact same position before. My opponent went h6 g4. I went to h5, and after he took back, so this is his idea, like it's a take, and then if f takes g4, bishop takes. And so black is, by the skin of their teeth, keeping their king side protected. That's black's idea. But in this position, I played rook takes h5, and if you take back, I'm going to take on g7 like this, give a check, and then after I give another check, I go rook d2 and rook h2 checkmate. So that's the most, I've had this exact position happen before, multiple times over the board and online. So I'm very familiar with this position from this point. And at this point, Bob sees that he's losing, and he just takes the pawn on e4 with his knight. So he sacrifices a piece to win 2 pawns. And this is kind of an admission that the position is lost. And now it's about the cleanup game. Clean up this position. So I like bishop e2, just developing, offering a trade. He accepts. And now he plays knight e5, avoiding trading the dark square bishops, which the dark square bishop is the best defender of the black king. And I just go queen g5 here, attacking the pawn, x-raying the queen, and yeah, just developing a piece, trying to get more active. He plays rook a7, guarding e7, and then I just play king b1. A slow, improving move, mostly just getting off of this diagonal. Like here, your spider senses should be tingling because of this diagonal. There could be some ideas of like king h7 and bishop h6 to pin for the win. But in this position, in this position, I just play king b1 to get out of that. And then he plays e6 here, attacking my knight, but he also offers a trade of queens. That's what that does by happenstance. And so now I move my knight back to e3, where it guards g4, so the knight can't hop into g4. And he doubles up on the d file, and I play knight f4, guarding d5 one more time. I thought he might go bishop h6 here, and then I might take on e5, bring my knight back, and I have 2 defenders on my rook. So my rook on d1 is not hanging, despite him having a battery on my rook. So instead of that, he goes a5, just advancing his pawns, just making moves. And I go rook hf1 here. There's some situations where if he goes king f8, I have knight takes e6 check, utilizing this pin. And also I stop the knight from hopping in. And right now, his knight no longer has any forward momentum at all. If I go like rook e1, I don't have to be scared, but like this knight f3 is kind of annoying because it attacks the rook and attacks the pawn, so I have to go back with the rook. So I didn't want to do that. So I just played rook f1 here. I thought it'd be useful on the f file if he ever pushes or if he ever moves his king or pushes this pawn. Could be very useful on this file. He plays bishop h6, attacking my knight. And then now we transpose to what I was talking about earlier, where I take on e5, bring this knight back to g2. And so now if he takes, and I can take back, and my knight is still guarding my rook. And if we trade everything, then this is just simply winning. I have a knight for a pawn, and I can create a passer. I can create a pass pawn on the queen side, which should hopefully slow down. He does have a 5-on-2 on the king side, but this should still be absolutely winning for white. So this all happened, but he did not take my knight. He went rook d4. So now if I take him, he can take back with the pawn. Now he's undoubled his pawns. And where do I go with my knight? I can go knight d1. Then he can maybe go d3, get his rook into the game. And this should still be winning, but it's a bit more complicated because of all of black's activity. So I go c3. That was my idea. And it kind of feels a little bit loosey-goosey for me, if he plays a rook d2. Because my idea, if he plays rook d2, I would play king c1. And my king is being x-rayed by the bishop. So if this rook was not on d8, if it was just like on a6, for example, he could play rook takes g2, and my knight is pinned because of his bishop here, x-raying my king. But in this case, if he did do that, then I could take his rook, and then after he moves, then I can just defend my knight. And if he attacks my knight one more time, then I can defend. Or if he attacks like this, then I can defend. And I'm doing quite okay here. If he takes the pawn, then I can go here. And then if he goes here, he probably wouldn't go there. He'd probably go here instead. And then yeah, it's just totally fine for me. Nothing, no issues for me at all here. I'll probably go knight c2 maybe. Maybe. My knight doesn't really have a good home right now. So I could also consider after rook h2 going rook f7. And then if he takes, I am admittedly down 4 pawns, which is kind of crazy, but I can probably just go c4 here and create a passed pawn, which seems pretty decent. Okay. But he did not go rook d2 here. He went rook d3, and I went king c2. So now I'm defending my rook with my other rook, and I'm attacking his rook. And so he goes back. I trade. Centralize my other rook. He moves his rook. I force his king away from the center. If I didn't give the check, he could go king f8 and king e7. I don't want that. I force the king on g7. Then I play c4, trying to create a passed pawn here. I thought about playing. After king g7 playing rook a8, but then I was like, there's f4, and if I take, there's f5 and then f4, and then I was like, this is probably okay, but I was just like, like he has 2 passed pawns, and I'm sure this is probably winning, but then he can also like push the pawn, like let's say like I don't know. Let's say I waste a move with a3, then he can play f3 here. And play rook d7, maybe trying to infiltrate with the rook here, and yeah, it's just not very comfortable. Like, these 2 passed pawns look really powerful. It's probably winning if I play it correctly. If I play rook a8 and rook takes a5, if I play precisely afterwards, it might be okay. But I was, you know what? I'm just gonna play c4, create a passed pawn, and try to promote and win the game from there. He goes rook c7, I go king d3, and I thought he would take, and I had the choice: do I take with the knight and fork his pawns, or do I take with a pawn? And try to promote. Either way works. I decided to do neither of them because he did not take. He played f5 instead, and I just simply took the pawn on b5 since it was hanging. He played f4. I played b6, a vicious zug, an in-between move. He attacks my knight, but I attack his rook back. He moves his rook. I use my knight to defend my rook, and now he pushes his pawn. I go knight e3, and if he takes, I can take back with the king to keep guard of the pawn. If he pushes his pawn and I do nothing, then he can take, and if I take with the knight, I lose this pawn, and if I take with the king, he promotes. So if he played f2, I probably would have gone knight f1, so then I could go king e2. Well, I'm just blockading right now. I don't even have to go king e2. I can just start winning these pawns or these pawns and start pushing my pawns like that. So totally fine here. So after f3, I go knight ge3, and then he goes bishop f4, defending his pawn. His pawn was hanging on e5, so he just defends it. And I go rook d6, attacking e6, but more importantly, guarding b6. So then after he defends, I play knight takes e5, and this pawn is no longer hanging because my rook's defending, and I'm attacking his rook. He plays rook b8, I play knight c6, and he resigns because I'm hanging my pawn. But if he takes it, I can play knight takes e5, and after he takes, I play rook takes b6 here, and now I'm just up a full rook. I'm up a full rook. I have 2 passed pawns: a4, a5, a6, a7, a8. So not too difficult at all. So that was the first game I played at the Ship Open, and yeah, I definitely don't think it was Bob's best game. I think he got a losing position pretty quickly. I mean, I just think this plan in the opening with a6 and b5 is just not good for black. I think it's already like +1 positionally or something like that for white, but we'll see what the engine says. But I just have so much experience in this, and I've won this position so many times. So I definitely was a smooth game. And now after this game, if I did not play round 3, my rating would probably be 2000. It might be 1999, but it'd probably be 2000. But I have to play one more game, and in the next game, I play a 1700 like 8-year-old kid. So if I lose or draw that game, I'm not making it to 2000.